Multi-sectoral meeting comprising of Khayelitsha Development Forum and Police Minister Bheki Cele met in Cape Town, the township of Cape Town, Khayelitsha today. This was to find tangible and meaningful solutions to the big problem of crime faced by that community. In what some have dubbed a war zone, dozens of people have died in mass shootings in Khayelitsha in the past 3 months. The Khayelitsha Crisis Response Summit established 5 commissions to deliberate and report back on crime, environmental design, socioeconomic ills and community partnership. Western Cape Community Safety and Police Oversight MEC Regan Allen urged the residents to take back their streets. Joining us now for his perspective on whether the summit will help is Khayelitsha Development Forum chairperson Ndithini Tyhido. Tyhido, good evening and thank you very much for your time once again and for being with us here on In Focus. Was this just another ordinary meeting or were concrete steps actually resolved out of this meeting?
Thank you very much, Thabo, and good evening to you and good evening to your viewers. Look, the very design, the very conceptualization of the summit was that it should not be just any other meeting. One example that we have for today at least is that the Minister of Police announced or at least handed over about 10 more police vans. That's one thing. The number 2 would be the now a definitive time frame given to the development of the Makaza police station. But the third and very most importantly is a comments that you referred to that were made by MEC Regan Allen. Because you would remember, Thabo, that in most instances you would find the police, the national department, as well as the provincial and the city, would in most instances be found to be talking in cross purposes as it relates to what is their response to the challenges facing Khayelitsha at the moment. This summit was organized by the Khayelitsha Development Forum and invited government to come and sit. We are very grateful to Minister Bheki Cele as well as his deputy, Mr. Cele, to allow us to say, look, come, we invite you, but speak later. Listen to us. Listen to what we think can help our situation.
Yeah. You, of course, are quoted as pointing out this particular issue of finger pointing. You think it has delayed intervention quite significantly. And I suppose you're also pointing out the fact that previously there was cooperation, for example, around the COVID-19 pandemic. Why do you think this particular matter lacked that degree of cooperation?
Look, the politicians being politicians, they don't have a sense of occasion. they don't have a sense of occasion, really, because people are dying in large numbers. There should have been no debate about whether the police would work better if their powers were to be devolved, to be given to a province and all of that. Then that sampling in the intervening period, people are dying. But we are very grateful that there is at least at the minimum a meeting of minds that, look, let's work together. When the provincial government of the Western Cape decides to support community initiatives, do that equally. Don't look at who brings it. What do you stand to benefit as whichever level of government in this? That is the appreciation we also received from Minister Cele and his team, that we're saying, look, as this community, all we want from you as government, come and work alongside us so that we can help you do your job better, so that we can in turn be safe.
So what is your understanding then of the direct participation of the established 5 commissions in this fight, as the MEC puts it, of taking back your streets?
We've also, just outside of government, we also invited people, researchers, well-known researchers, people like Eldred de Klerk were also there. People like Father Smangali Somkatra were also there, because we wanted to have a cross-section of stakeholders, so that, and former MEC, Mr. Leonard Ramatakan, invited in his capacity as former MEC for community safety, and the former Commissioner Petros, and former General IP, former General Dramat. The issue there was to inform these commissions in such a way that out of that summit, we come out with practical, easy to implement kind of resolutions that are going to help us better mobilize the community, that the resources that are brought in by SAPS are received by a community that is well prepared to respond.
Now, you speak of this gap that has, of course, existed. So you've got the gangs, you've got the community, you've got the police who are supposed to be working with the community. Why do you think the gangs have been able to create this gap between community and police? And how do you breach that gap? And how does this intervention help to breach that gap?
But the summit really was held to try and correct our diagnosis of the problem. Because everybody seemed to be accepting a view that says this is only a policing matter, which is not. It is not only a policing matter because it affects a lot of other issues. For instance, if one is going to take the line that says the protection fee extortion is the basis, then the next question that's going to follow is that who knows how many spaza shops are there that are owned by foreign nationals, or the Somalis, to be specific, in Khayelitsha. So the municipality is going to roll there to regulate the proliferation of spaza shops owned by people who are probably not even registered in the Republic. That's another point. A second point, if you are to have programs aimed at diverting the youth's energy to positivity, what facilities do we have to do so? So there's many other role players that must be brought into the conversation, just outside the police. Everybody talks about the boots, the boots on the ground, and these boots on the ground must move between shacks. There must be access roads. There must be house numbers. There must be street lighting. There must be fixing of potholes. Right. Now, these are the things that requires a diverse stakeholder grouping to be able to bring together these solutions to this problem.
So if I understand you correctly, you're saying part of what's coming out of this summit is that you need all the hands of government, all the institutions, so from social services to come on board, from roads to come on board, from housing to come on board, then the police, and when they are all sitting on the table, bringing their resources to the table, we then talk about how we take back the streets.
Exactly, Mr. Mduli. That's what we say is a diagnosis of the situation that we're finding in. Well, today, Cele gave us 10 vans, and he asked us a question. I'm giving you these vans. How are they going to penetrate in Ndlovini, where the last 6 people were killed? Because there are no roads there. You can have all 10 of them parked away from where the actual incident happened. And then somebody must come in. But we're encouraged, though, Mr. Mduli, by the willingness from the side of the provincial government, Western Cape, as was represented by MEC Rick and Ellen, that look, there's now a thinking that says, if communities come together and we must try and unite and work in unison in responding to the challenges we're facing.
Now, of course, it's an urgent matter because lives are being lost. We're looking at 26 victims of mass shootings in Khayelitsha since March this year. Maybe even as we speak now, there are more being added to those numbers. When are you meeting next, and what is the next action item that you've registered and logged coming out of this first meeting?
Between today and the 18th of July, because by the 18th of July, we want all the ministers in the safety, the justice cluster, or that cluster that involves home affairs, that involves social development, justice, correctional services, and all of them. But by that time, we must have had a report which is given there with a direct support system, at least a resourcing of the neighborhood watches and community forums in the area by that time. Because we're saying we no longer want summits that would only have beautified documents, beautifully prepared documents. We want a summit that's going to respond and say 60 or so people are going to be trained in this and that other thing, and their task is going to be this, that, and that. And somebody, serious and tangible commitments about If you say Khayelitsha has got CCTV cameras that are not working, who's responsible to making them work? And if you say there's an issue of numbers, not without houses without numbers, who is responsible for that? If you say the issue is with potholes, who must take that responsibility? Now, you talk about public transport as well as an area. Who must come? So this is a type of a whole of society kind of response we're trying to create here. We do not know if it's perfect or not, but at least it's a bona fide initiative coming from the bottom to the government.
Appreciate your time. Chairperson of the Khayelitsha Development Forum, Ndithini Tyhido. We continue in a moment.